Now, you must be somewhat relieved to be outside of the United Kingdom at the moment, where you're not going to be made necessarily to talk about Brexit with so many people here. But inside the United Kingdom, people are still, are they not, troubled as to how you managed to campaign for Brexit with no plan, and you still have no plan for the day after.
I think that's, if I may say so, a little bit harsh on the government, because what we're doing is talking to our European friends and partners now in the expectation that by the early part of next year you will see an Article 50 letter. We will invoke that, and in that letter I'm sure we will be setting out some parameters for how we propose to take this forward. Principles. We are going to benefit from the fantastic opportunities for greater free trade with our friends in the EU. It's overwhelmingly in their interest. We are the single, not only do we buy more German cars than anybody else, we drink more Italian wine than any other country in Europe. 300 million litres of Prosecco every year. They're not going to put that at risk. Of course we need a proper deal for our financial services industries. We need to sort out the question of free movement, but it is all
doesn't
doable.
Sound like a plan at all.
And what is, well, if you invoke Article 50 in the early part of next year, you have 2 years to put it off. I don't actually think we will necessarily need to spend a full 2 years, but let's see how we go.
But doesn't British industry need so many workers from Europe? The construction industry alone is talking about 200,000, the need for 200,000 workers alone.
Sure.
Polish builders, you're a big fan, aren't you?
Absolutely. And nobody throughout that great campaign ever suggested that Britain was going to be hauling up the drawbridge or slamming the gates on absolutely everybody who wanted to enter our sceptred isle. Of course that's not going to happen. What we are going to do is take back
That was the
control.
Campaign message
Take
last
back
night.
control.
How are you going to take back control and do a free trade deal? Norway hasn't got control.
Well, we're standing in a country, as you may know, that succeeded, Sam, throughout the years of the single market since 1992 in exporting more goods and more services at a faster rate. There was a faster rate of growth of US goods and services exports to the single market, the so-called European Union single market, than we achieved whilst we were within that single market legislative system. We think that we can do extremely well with a global free trade package, overwhelmingly in the interests of our partners. And the crucial thing is that we will continue, because we're not leaving Europe widely conceived, we will continue to be participants in common European defence discussions, security, foreign policy.
Would we join the European Army?
Counter-terrorism, intelligence sharing, and all that kind of thing. On the European Army proposals, Sam, you and I have been around long enough to have seen these things emerge before over the last few decades. All I will say is that it's not, obviously, whilst we're members for the next couple of years, it's not something that we're going to interdict. We can't, if they want to create these new cathedrals of intellectual beauty for their new common defence policy, they may, but they shouldn't do anything, in my view, and I think this is actually widely shared amongst our European friends and partners. It would be a mistake to do anything that undermined the transatlantic alliance and the NATO security guarantees. That's what really keeps Europe safe, and actually that is completely understood in all the capitals of Europe.
Among the leading Brexit cabinet ministers, are you the softie on immigration?
I've always been pro-immigration, but I'm pro-control. And that's what the British people voted for.
Is that a view shared by Liam Fox, David Davis? Have you had a chat about that?
I'm sure it's the view around the entire cabinet table. I can't think there's anybody who would dissent from what I... Look, look at the economy city I used to run, London. 40% of the Londoners were born abroad. It's a dynamic, thriving, multinational, multiracial economy. Fantastic. But and that will continue. All we're saying is that there should be the ability of the domestic authorities to control who comes in, who works, and and that kind of thing. And that should apply not just to people from outside the EU, but to people within it as well.
Free trade deals, which is going to have to be one of the central planks of any post-Brexit economic policy, almost always in this day and age involve a very substantial degree of free access to labour. Is that so?
No,
are we going to be getting lots of people from India, from Australia, New Zealand?
If I may say so, Sam, I've never heard you talk such total cobblers. It's completely untrue.
Yes, the Australians are already talking about it. We've spoken to them.
Of course you can.
Your counterpart from Australia is talking about much freer access for Australian
but
workers
I don't
to
think
the United
I don't
Kingdom
think it's
in return
necessary.
for free trade.
Now, when you do free trade deals with other countries around the world, you may want to look at ways in which we would, as you rightly say, ways in which we would make it easier than it currently is for Australians who have a job they want to come to come and do that. Because at the moment it is more difficult for Australians than it is for anybody from Slovakia or wherever it happens to be. And I personally think that's an oddity in the way we organise things. So yes, that's perfectly sensible.
India,
but what I reject is the idea that there's some automatic link, and this particularly applies to the negotiation with the EU. They would have us believe that there's some automatic trade-off between what they call access to the single market and free movement of people. Complete baloney, absolute baloney. The two things have nothing to do with each other, and we should go for a jumbo free trade deal and take back control of our immigration policy.